What's up? This is Pod Rushmore. I am Andrew Bailey, the entertainment editor for the BG News, joined here by Max Marco, the Falcon Media sports editor.
Hey, what's going on? Andrew, why don't you tell everybody about that time that you, those 3 separate occasions that you shit your pants within a week? Tell the audience at home all about that.
I think it was really those wasabi peas and the extreme amount of stress I was under after trying to crack open those pistachios.
Yeah, but tell them about how you did it on purpose though.
I mean, I just wanted to feel something, you know?
But what was it that you wanted to feel? Was it just the embarrassment? Because you did it on purpose. So, I mean, I don't know why you would be embarrassed by it. You made the choice to, defecate in your underwear in public, too.
I did make the conscious decision.
Where was that again that you did that?
One time in the newsroom, one time in the Falcon's Nest, the Union, with all the food there. And one time just walking around on campus, I think it was nearby the Oval.
So you just how long did it take you to change and take a shower and stuff?
I didn't.
You walked around with shit in your underwear all day?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right, you want to take the show back over again?
I'll lay out this podcast. So, if any of you out there have not listened to Pod Rushmore before, what we do here is essentially take Mount Rushmore, at the time that it was made, the four faces.
The infamous building, Mount Rushmore.
Yes, the infamous building. And then we apply the same concept that was used for Mount Rushmore to other categories.
Yeah.
So for our first episode, we did the Mount Rushmore of liquids that you should not drink. We created.
It was a massive success, an immediate hit it went viral. It went viral.
I'm famous now.
It went viral.
I can't walk around on the street without.
And I just want to make this. I want to make this clear too. We are going to be constructing and building these structures. We will build the Mount Rushmore of liquids that you can't drink, and will be done. It's 100% guarantee from us. It will be constructed.
I just need to wait for that grant to come through. But, holding out hope. So, for this episode, we will be doing the Mount Rushmore of prettiest actors in Hollywood.
Given that it's Valentine's Day, we thought this would be an appropriate topic. And this could be the prettiest actors or the prettiest actresses. And I just want everybody at home to make sure and to understand that we put a lot of thought and effort into this list. And what we're going to do, it's going to do the same a setup as the last episode, and it's going to be the same setup going forward. We're going to share our individual lists, starting off with the contenders that we have decided to cross off the official, each individual official Mount Rushmore, and then we will go into the big four that we have on our proverbial Mount Rushmore of prettiest actors or actresses. Mm-hmm. And then after we share our individual lists, we will go into collaborating to find the one true Mount Rushmore that rules them all in terms of prettiest actors and actresses.
Just a nice little themed episode to really set the mood for a romantic evening.
Each episode is themed. The topic of the episode is what decides.
It connects to the goddamn holiday.
Okay. Hey, shut up. You can't talk to me like that, okay? I'm in this just as much as you are, all right?
So
Listen here. Shut up. Shut up.
This is themed for the holiday, for something a bit romantic, to really set the mood for a nice evening.
And I think when I went into deciding my list, I thought of okay, when I think of prettiest actors and actresses, who made me the most hot and bothered or in the mood to make love if I saw them on screen.
Yeah, I went at it with who made me feel the most romantic and loving. Who made me want to go to a flower patch and pick out roses. And
yeah, if I thought of this actor, and I thought to myself, oh boy, I I'm feeling a little flushed. I have to, I have to get a towel to dab some of the sweat off my brow. Then that was an immediate, we might have something here.
Ooh.
And I want to be clear as well, and I think you have a couple on your list, and I know I have one on mine. We wanted for it to be a completely fair argument, and because of aging and things like that, some actors don't hold up as well as to others.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to specify a specific era of an actor's career, you can easily do that, and that could be, that could be your qualification as to why they are on your Mount Rushmore.
Okay. So you want to kick her off then?
You want me to go first?
I'll give you that.
All right, you went first last time, so I guess I'll go first this time. Starting with the actors that I have crossed off my list. These didn't make the cut, unfortunately. And we'll start at the bottom. I went with Glenn Close.
All right.
Just an unbelievably attractive actress. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. Keep going.
Unbelievably attractive actress. And I think the most attractive part about her is her name, Glenn. Why are you laughing?
Keep going.
It's very rude. Just the fact that she has the most feminine name possible makes me really enjoy watching movies that she's in. What are you doing?
Sorry. Got the giggles,
Oh, are you thinking about Glenn Close? I guess, you know what? I can agree with it. Sometimes when I think about Glenn Close, I get like a little childish giddy, like, oh, she's very pretty. But again, like I said, the most attractive thing about her by far is her name. Next on the lists of contenders that didn't make the cut, David Koechner. Why are you laughing?
Whenever I hear someone who I think that is attractive,
you think of the smooth, attractive, pretty head of David Koechner.
A bald head that I want to rub.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a welcoming presence, and of course that's the type of person. It's about setting your standard. That's a type of person I know. If I set my heart to it, I could easily bed David Koechner.
Yes.
Next on the list, sorry, I was just thinking about the idea of having sex with David Koechner.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
I know. Next on the list is Zach Galifianakis.
Gorgeous, absolutely.
Incredibly funny. One of my favorite comedians of all time. But just has the looks to back it up. Really just, like, you have to wonder why he's not in more movies, because he's just incredibly handsome to look at. Not much else there to it. I think the beard really sets him apart from others.
Just the combination of humor and good looks,
and
I
hair.
think.
The humor and hair, yeah.
Ooh, the hair. Ooh.
Next on the list is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this based on name alone, but Dan Fogler.
I know the name.
He was the star of the hit comedic movie Balls of Fury.
Oh,
and
okay.
if I wanted to specify this, I would say specifically Dan Fogler in Balls of Fury is arguably one of the the prettiest actors of all time. He had very large mutton chops and a long, greasy, unwashed, curly hair. Undeniably attractive in the movie.
Who's the female lead in that movie?
Maggie Q.
And they kiss, don't they?
They do. They have a couple of tender kissing scenes. I believe at one point it is maybe surmised or is hinted at that they do have sexual intercourse in the movie.
I mean, if he can do that with Maggie Q, he can do that with me.
Another close runner-up that I did not have on the list that is also in Bars of Fury is Diedrich Bader.
Oh, yeah.
Bader. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he's a very, very handsome actor. Next on the list, unfortunately didn't make the cut, but everybody knows this one. It's maybe it's a little bit of a controversial pick not having him on here because of how well known he is. Will Ferrell.
I think it's really the height.
It's the height that sets him apart. It's the hair. And if you ever noticed, he has, I think the most incredibly attractive thing about him is the bottom row of his teeth. If you ever get a good look at it, they are almost inexplicably crooked. And that really is that I'm thinking about right now. Oh my God. Next on the list is Barack Obama. Unfortunately, didn't make the cut. I felt a little bit awkward putting Barack Obama on the list. The only reason why I included him was because I thought of how attractive he was. But I wanted to make sure that I can include him, and that's why I went on IMDb and I looked up his credits. And unfortunately for us, he was featured in 2 episodes of Mythbusters, so therefore he is an accredited actor.
He was also in Between Two Ferns.
Not in the movie, though. He was on the web series, which doesn't really count. No, I don't consider anybody that appeared in the web series an actor.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm thinking of another person that I did not include on this list that would have been good to include, but I just couldn't think of it in time, which was Jack McBrayer.
I think it's really the horse teeth that make him.
Yeah, and there's another
cute.
There's another person on this list that I put that exact phrasing for. Next on the list that didn't make the cut, unfortunately, Hannibal Buress. I think it's just the mysterious mystique behind. You never really can tell if he's looking at you. I don't think you can tell if he's looking at anything really, but just because of how uniquely squinted and small his eyes are. Also, he has the hottest scar in between his eyes. I have never seen anything like it.
I bet him and Eric Andre make quite good love together.
I don't think they've ever had sex, but
you don't know that.
I don't like to talk about that stuff on this podcast, please.
It's
your podcast, it's your show, but it's not that kind of show.
My apologies.
You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want on here, but not that kind of show. Next on the list is another great actor, Michael Douglas. I immediately, when you and I decided a couple of weeks ago what we were going to discuss on this podcast, and we said, we know what we're going to do. Valentine's Day is coming up. We're going to do, after we do our first episode, we're going to do Prettiest Actors. And you remember that discussion, do you not? Mm-hmm. And the first thing I thought of when we talked about what we were going to talk about was the leathery skin of Michael Douglas and just how he's able to bed in, just the gorgeous women that he takes to bed in his movies. If you've ever seen, and Glenn Close is one of them. If you've ever seen Fatal Attraction, what's the other one?
Behind the Candelabra.
Yes.
In which he beds Matt Damon,
Matt
I believe.
Yes. He plays, what's his face?
Some dude who does shit with art, I think.
Can't remember the name of the opera, not the singer, whatever his name is. But now we are getting into, I have 5 starred because I wanted to just make it fair. So this is a live, we haven't done this before. This is a live elimination of.
Ooh, okay. Something fresh.
From somebody from my list. And I'm going to go with Willem Dafoe.
You're going to eliminate him?
I'm going to eliminate Willem Dafoe because I just don't so much focus is on his unbelievably gorgeous eyes and how they kind of just pierce at you. And at times I've looked at him in his eyes and I thought, this man wants to kill me. This man wants to kill anybody that he can get his hands on. He is an insane person. And then you look a little bit longer and you look for more behind the eyes. And what you find is an incredibly majestic soul, and I don't think any other actor in the Hollywood Film Gala could replicate that.
He does have nice wrinkly skin too.
But unfortunately, he does have red hair, and we all know that red hair is bad. And we'll dock you points on this show. Anybody that has red hair is not welcome on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many guests call in and say, hey, I would love to be on your podcast. I love what you guys are doing. Keep doing everything that you're doing. You're going to be the best podcast on the internet. And I look down at the caller ID, and oh boy, it's Conan O'Brien. I had to hang up immediately because my doctor has prescribed me to not talk to people with red hair. So yeah,
I feel sorry for you, but I'm glad you feel comfortable enough to open up here on the podcast.
Yeah, that's okay though. I mean, I'll get over it.
I wish the best for you.
I think I don't know. I think my doctor called it something like gingeritis or something like that, but that sounded too childish to me. But I'm hoping it's one of these diseases that you kind of just grow out of, like the coronavirus or something like that.
Yeah.
So now we go to the big four, my finalists.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, and I'm assuming that this man is on.
Oh, he's
both
definitely
of
on
our
the
lists.
list. I know who you're talking about.
Jack Nicholson, the cream of the crop. The thin, wispy, almost non-existent hair, the incredible, almost intimidating at times demeanor that he brings to every scene that he's in.
Don't forget the eyebrows.
It's not even the brow, it's just a brow muscle that really knocks your socks off.
They're so expressive.
The way he smokes his cigarettes, the way he talks. Oh my God, don't even get me started on the way he talks. Whew. Man, if you've ever seen The Departed, he by far had the best Boston accent in that movie. And
yes, he did.
And Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon were in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
They both are from Boston, in case you did not know. And they could not even stand a chance to Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson I think he's one of the modern day heroes.
I believe he is, I want to say 13-time winner of People's Sexiest Man Alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep up with People magazine. I've never read it, nor have I ever seen any of the covers. But I'm aware of the contest that they hold where actors from across the globe will write in and say, please pick me, I'm the prettiest boy in school. Mm-hmm. And they will go through the list and will say, okay, here's a list of all the people that think that they are the prettiest actor in Hollywood. And we have decided that Jack Nicholson, once again, is the prettiest actor in Hollywood. They have done this for so many years, and yet people keep writing in trying to figure out what are we not doing that Jack Nicholson is doing. And it's got to be the hair. It's got to be the demeanor. It's got to be the attitude. It's the confidence. How else is he supposed to star alongside of Helen Hunt in a movie and get her to become incredibly attracted to him?
Mm-hmm.
Inexplicable. So, next on the list. This one I had to think long and hard about. This is one of those ones that I said I had to do a very specific era of this actor.
Okay.
This was when he was at the prime of his career. Everything he did before this means nothing. And this was 1970s Orson Welles.
Okay.
If you're familiar with his work, he's a very astute actor. People think that he's one of the best. But everything that he did in the latter half of his life, especially when he became incredibly fat and had a big gray beard, and the salt and pepper that he had on his beard, it'll blow you away. And he was almost, I think, almost every public appearance he made post 1960s, he was intoxicated for. Which, I mean, just
Very bold.
But just shows just how much of a badass he is. And everybody knows that they like the bad boys. They want to be with the ones that make them do the things that they don't want to do. So
They like a good Burt Harley Jarvis, that's for sure.
yes, which is a reference to I Think You Should Leave the Show with Tim Robinson, who's very handsome himself.
Yes, he is.
Moving on to my next one is Stephen Baldwin, brother of Alec Baldwin.
Interesting choice from the Baldwin brothers.
But Stephen, out of all the Baldwin brothers, I believe, I haven't measured it, but I want to say Stephen has the biggest set of teeth and the biggest overbite out of everybody in the Baldwin family.
Massive overbite. And
that just sets him apart from the rest of his brothers. If you've ever seen The Usual Suspects, he is by far the most handsome actor in the movie. Just an undeniable smoke show, as the kids are saying these days.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that word thrown around.
Yeah.
Here and there.
And the last one, I think you'll appreciate this one. This is a classic. I think when you think of when you think of sex, this is the man that you think of, and that is Walter Matthau. Why are you laughing?
I do think of sex. Yeah, I'm just surprised that you agree with me on that.
We both know, what this man means to the ideal human form in general.
He helped me through a very dark time.
Exactly. He is an inspiration to all men and women everywhere. He is what every man wants to be, and he is what every woman wants to be with. I've never seen anybody have a more chiseled jaw in my life. He manages to somehow keep it pristine, but at the same time, he gives consideration to those around him and decides to keep it slouched. And his shoulders are always leaning forward as if he is, has an incredibly bad back. In the movie Dennis the Menace, he was probably at his peak performance then. He was probably hitting the gym, I want to say, maybe like 2-3 times a day. He would take time out of his, every time he took a take and they needed to go shoot another scene, he would be hitting the gym. He'd be lifting weights.
Getting big, getting swole.
Getting hard. And that's what it's all about. Getting hard. So that's all I have. Obviously, it's tough. There are so many beautiful actors working in
Hollywood is full of gorgeous people.
It's full of gorgeous actors, full of gorgeous actresses, and it's tough to decide who is the best of the best. So I compliment you for trying, and it was a hard day's work compiling that list.
This was very.
I
tough
worked
for
on
me.
this list for about 46 hours.
I've been working on this list since I first set foot in Bowling Green.
I think it's safe to say, I agree. It's safe to say that we probably all have some sort of list in our heads that we've been working on ever since we've, began watching film.
I'd say so. Yeah. So I guess we can go ahead and get into my list here.
Yes.
Then. So we'll go through my honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Actors I thought of, but unfortunately, were not beautiful enough to make the list. So first up is Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito is, I think he doesn't get enough credit because of his height, obviously. But if you look at the facial features of Danny DeVito, he's what they used to call in the 70s and the 80s a hard body.
I think it's the height of him that really does it for me.
Really?
Yeah. I can. As a short man myself,
Oh, you can relate.
I can relate, and I have that emotional connection that I might not have with someone such as Will Ferrell, who's taller.
Yeah, I get that.
We can be very close, but unfortunately not gorgeous enough. Another one was Adam Sandler, specifically from the film That's My Boy, starring Andy Samberg. It's when he had the
Very
long,
fair.
greasy hair.
Yes, very fair. I want to say that might have been a wig that he was wearing in the movie.
No, he grew it out.
He did. He grew it out.
Yes. He told me himself.
Much like Little Nicky.
Yes. He had one earring, too, kind of dangled near his shoulder. I think the reason I was attracted to him is that he was the man I wanted to be.
I think that's what everybody says when they think about Adam Sandler is he's everything I want to be. In terms of a person, in terms of my looks, in terms of the way I act. Mm-hmm. When, in Billy Madison, in one of the opening scenes when, he's at the dinner table and he shouts the complete nonsense and gibberish and he goes, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." Oh my God. The way that makes me feel inside, I'm smiling just thinking about it.
I had to pause the film right there and step out of the room to
cool down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Next up we have Pete Postlethwaite.
Okay.
Something about him, he's in those late 50s, early 60s, I think now.
Yeah, that's another. He's also in The Usual Suspects, and I think I'll let you comment on this, but I want to say the most attractive thing about him is always his just incredibly greasy, slicked down facial hair and regular hair.
I think something that I liked about him a lot was I don't know if this is something that stuck out to you, but his head was very round and circular.
Yeah.
It's almost like a perfect sphere.
I want to say he has the head shape of a peanut M&M.
I was going to say like a bowling ball.
Oh, okay.
He's got the eyes, 2 holes in the mouth. Like I could just stick my 3 fingers in there and just, roll them down a lane.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess actually, I think this next actor would also be from a specific era in their career. They haven't changed it a whole lot, but Paul Giamatti, when he played...
How can I not think of him?
When he played Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think Paul Giamatti in Big Fat Liar that's pristine figure.
See, just seeing Paul Giamatti in that giant mechanical suit, throwing people around, committing murder right and left.
I think you're speaking more to the character than the actor.
No, the actor.
But I agree. I mean, he didn't actually murder anybody.
Yes, he did. In doing that, I know that he could protect me. He could be there for me when I needed him. So, next up on my list, we have Jason Biggs.
That's a good one. He was the star of the American Pie films and was always lauded as the sex appeal in that franchise.
Mm-hmm. I think
a lot of people wanted to be that pie.
One night, I almost was that pie.
You've met him?
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you tell us about that experience?
It's between me and Jason Biggs only.
Oh, you signed a non-disclosure.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That would have been a great story.
Well, too bad.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Was there any physical contact?
Not between us two directly, but I will say that there was a pie involved.
Okay.
Neither of us touched each other directly.
If I guess what happened, will you say yes or no?
Fine. I'll say yes.
Okay. I'm guessing that Jason Biggs recreated that scene from American Pie and gave you the leftovers, and you went home and heated it up in your microwave and ate it.
Well, you didn't get that wrong, but
it wasn't exactly right.
Wasn't exactly right.
Okay. Was it the reversal? Did you do the American Pie and give it to him?
Let's move on. So next on my list.
Why are you laughing? This is a serious topic.
Sorry. So next on my list is Cher. The actress, Cher.
Yeah.
The singer, Cher.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Moonstruck with Nick Cage.
Yes. Nick Cage is a good one, too.
I think her singing ability and just...
You're a fan?
I'm not a fan. I think her long, curly black hair is also nice and gorgeous. Yes. So, you know what? In the interest of time, I think we can go ahead and move into my Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
First, which is very obvious, something that we both can easily agree upon, Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
Don't think he needs much explaining. You know, you already went over everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's just versatile, gorgeous.
Yes.
Lovely. Next up for me is Ron Perlman.
Beautiful.
I think I liked him a lot as Hellboy. Very nice and red with the horns. But something else that a lot of people might not realize is the distance between the top of his head and the bottom of his chin is very, very long. 2 or 3 feet easily.
Probably one of his more fascinating, probably one of his hottest features, honestly.
The incredibly long face.
Yes.
It's got, and you know, with the face stretched out like that.
And his voice, too.
Oh, yeah.
That gets the underwear wet.
All of his facial features are just stretched out
Yeah.
because his face is so long.
It's, you know, like, it's as if, like, if you were playing Wii, if you were on your Wii and you were creating a Mii, and you put the slider for face height all the way up.
If Ron Perlman were to unhinge his massive jaw and open that mouth all the way, he could probably devour a pizza. An entire
I think if
large
you were,
14-inch pizza.
If you were
all
to
at
go
once.
to Little Caesars and get a large pie and roll it up, much like a newspaper or a marijuana cigarette, you could easily fit that. You could slide that into his mouth.
Yeah. So next we have the gorgeous Damian Lewis.
Okay.
For those of you who not know who that is.
Yeah, I get this one.
He's from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, played Steve McQueen, and the show Billions on Showtime, also starring Paul Giamatti.
And he was in The Americans on
he was
FX.
also Homeland. I believe.
Homeland,
Yeah.
that's it, yeah.
This brings me back to an earlier point you actually made, but I believe he really transcends that objection. He has red hair.
I can't comment because I unfortunately my doctor has said I can't comment.
Let me lay it out for you then. His mouth is so small.
I really beg you to not go any further because I'm afraid of what's going to happen to my body. I just got back from the doctor and he said if you come in contact with anybody talking about red hair, if you see anybody with red hair, it could kill you.
Okay.
But if you just don't mention anything else besides his mouth.
Okay. Focus on the mouth specifically?
Yeah.
All right. His tiny mouth. It's so small. So you know how if you had a Big Mac from McDonald's, it might take you like 10 bites to eat it? It would probably take him around...
10 bites? You think it takes 10 bites to eat a Big Mac?
Yeah.
Okay.
It would probably take Damian Lewis around 45, 50 bites to eat the Big
What do you
Mac.
consider a bite? You think a normal person eats a Big Mac in 10 bites?
That was just a guesstimation.
Okay. All right. Sorry, we're getting off track. Go ahead.
But, you know, with that small mouth, he can really savor everything that he eats. Because he can't take big bites.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, within that small mouth of his, he has small tongue, small teeth, small tonsils. It's a very compact place inside of his mouth. And, yeah.
And
Lovely.
you have one more?
One more. Very, very beautiful man. Known for playing Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo films. We have Matthew Lillard. Also, he was in the movie Scream.
Yes.
Played one of the killers.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Whoa.
Spoiler alert.
If you now we have to go back and write in the description of the podcast if you have not seen the movie Scream, you cannot listen to this episode. Thanks a lot.
We'll make an exception.
That's like almost the entire population of the United States. You've ruined this episode.
It's to make a point.
It's not.
I'm here to make a point.
The point. Okay, whatever. You know what?
Matthew Lillard in Scream. So terrifying. He had me frozen. I couldn't take my eyes off him.
A little bit of a kind of like a Stockholm syndrome type
Yes.
situation.
And then when he made that versatile turn as Shaggy Rogers, part of the Mystery Gang in the Scooby-Doo franchise.
I didn't know Shaggy had a last name.
Yeah, it's Rogers. When he made that versatile turn, I knew that he was capable of anything, really. He could do anything I wanted.
Interesting.
And I think it's the long, shaggy hair. That
So,
he
I mean,
had.
just out of curiosity, not that I would want to know, but just for the viewers at home, or listeners, I should say at home, just in case they wanted to know, what exactly would you let Matthew Lillard do to you?
Let's see. Keep it a little bit of PG.
Okay,
here.
you know what? Let me specify it for you. Just stick to one hole.
Let's just say I would be his Scooby.
Okay, so you're into that whole dominatrix sort of thing. You let him carry you around on a leash,
Yes.
feed him food. All right, I could get behind that. So, let's get into
Creating
the
this.
official, the ultimate Pod Rushmore prettiest actors and actresses Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Number one, both on our list. It's got to be on there.
Veritable lock.
Jack Nicholson.
Easy.
He's on there. That's number one.
No debate necessary.
Jack Nicholson is on the Mount Rushmore for prettiest actors and actresses. Now, moving on. Who do you see as the closest chance that we have to agreeing on someone?
I believe.
I think I'm assuming that you liked my pick of Walter Matthau.
I did like that a lot. That was a good choice.
I thought that your choice of Paul Giamatti was very good as well.
He didn't make my my official Mount Rushmore. Though.
He didn't.
No. He did not.
Who was on your official Mount Rushmore?
Jack Nicholson, Ron
That's right,
Perlman,
Jack
Damian Lewis, Matthew Lillard.
Okay. I think out of all those on yours, I think the only one that I really like that much is Ron Perlman.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's something we can agree upon.
I think that we can agree upon on Ron Perlman as well. Between Walter Matthau and Ron Perlman, which one do you think is more deserving?
Ron Perlman, easy.
You think Ron Perlman?
The ginormous distance between the bottom of his chin and top of his head
It's fair, but
cannot be matched.
I mean, just the dead man stare that you get from Walter Matthau. I think we can save him for maybe another one of these other
We can
slots.
save him for another one. So Ron Perlman will also be on our Mount Rushmore.
For those keeping score at home, that is Jack Nicholson and Ron Perlman. Now, looking back on my other choices, I think 1970s Orson Welles. Even if you're not familiar with him, I know he's very deserving.
Star of Citizen Kane.
This was way after Citizen Kane.
Oh, so he had the experience of Citizen Kane to offer as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Like just before he died, Orson Welles.
Hmm. So, who would you choose between Orson Welles and Walter Matthau?
Probably Walter Matthau.
Oh, okay. What makes Walter Matthau so special for you?
I think it's the slouched jawline, the bags under his eyes, all exquisite features that are studied in beauty schools.
Okay.
If you walk into a Sephora, and you go into any section that has to do with wrinkles or eye creams, they are legally obligated to have a 8x10 headshot of Walter Matthau on hand.
I actually bought some Walter Matthau brand wrinkle remover.
See, I have a similar product. It's a Walter Matthau wrinkle edition. They give you wrinkles.
Okay.
Also, they give you dark spots on your hands, liver spots.
Okay. You know
So
what?
I think I'd pick Walter Matthau between the two.
I think you've made a fair argument for good old Walter.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Walter Matthau is more than deserving. So that is for those of you keeping score at home. We have Jack Nicholson, Ron Perlman, and now Walter Matthau with one spot remaining.
Okay.
Who is your selection?
I think I'm gonna throw Matthew Lillard into the pot.
Okay, Matthew Lillard. For my final selection, I think I'm going to go with Stephen Baldwin. Now,
there are much prettier Baldwin brothers, I would argue.
If we went with, I disagree. I think if we went with a Prettiest Baldwin Mount Rushmore, it would be Stephen and only Stephen.
Okay.
Would you prefer me to throw in 1970s Orson Welles? Maybe you want me to change it to 1980s Orson Welles?
I think I can make a fair argument for Matthew Lillard against either of those.
The thing about Matthew Lillard is that I just don't think he has the miles. I don't think he has the experience.
What makes you think that?
He's very young.
He's like late 30s. Early
Exactly.
40s.
And, the ones that I have picked, Jack Nicholson, Walter Matthau, Orson Welles, those are all fairly weathered actors that have added beauty on with every age.
So you're into older men? Across.
Not necessarily the older part. It's the experience. It's the weathering. It's the leathery skin.
Matthew Lillard has plenty of experience, however. He has traveled the world with the Mystery Gang.
I think you're focusing too much on the character of Shaggy.
It shows his versatility.
It's not really versatility when it's only one role.
He was also in Scream.
And it was basically the same character.
He can do horror. He can do comedy.
Scream is arguably a comedy. It's not even a horror movie.
It's like a horror comedy.
It's more of a comedy than a horror movie.
It's like a satirical horror.
Which is a comedy.
So he can also do action. There were some intense action scenes in the Scooby-Doo franchise.
That he didn't do, that a stunt double did.
The action scenes were on par with John Wick that Matthew Lillard performed.
See, now I have to stop you right there because this is turning into a giant propaganda piece for the Scooby-Doo franchise. I will not let this stand any longer. I am vetoing Matthew Lillard from this list.
Vetoing, huh?
Yes.
See, it's a new thing we got going on here, vetoing?
Yes.
All right.
If you can't hold up your end of the bargain in the argument, and clearly you cannot.
All right, I can make more arguments about his appearance, I guess. I think it's the eyebrows, the hair, the way his hair looks.
I think he has normal, average eyebrows and hair. If you really want to get down to brass tacks, if you want to get down to business, the best feature on Matthew Lillard is the separation between his eyes. Uma Thurman-esque.
Amanda Seyfried-esque.
Exactly.
Sid the Sloth-esque.
But you didn't even mention this. You brought a weak argument to the table, and now you're being served.
I was drawn in.
Shut up.
I was drawn in by his greasy hair.
He doesn't even have. He has short hair. The only time he had greasy hair was with that stupid goddamn Scooby-Doo movie that you keep blabbering on about. Nobody gives a shit about that.
He had long greasy hair in Scream.
No, he didn't.
It's been years since.
I'm vetoing it.
All right, fine.
We're going with 1970s Orson Welles.
I'm throwing in Damian Lewis.
No, not Damian Lewis. He has red hair. He can't be on the list.
I think you need to get over that. This is a time for you to grow past that.
Shut up. It's my disease. I can do with it as I please.
All right.
Final Mount Rushmore. This episode is... I apologize. This episode has taken a dark turn, and it's all because of Andrew Bailey and his agenda towards Scooby-Doo. Fucking Scooby-Doo. God damn it. Final Mount Rushmore. Prettiest actors and actresses in Hollywood. Jack Nicholson, Ron Perlman, Walter Matthau, 1970s Orson Welles.
Maybe we could at least put like a little plaque on the side for Matthew Lillard.
I'll tell you what. We'll have Matthew Lillard swing by from time to time and make special guest appearances. Does that make you feel better?
Dressed up as Shaggy Riders?
Oh, my God. Yeah, fine. Whatever.
That works for me.
All right.
Well, thank you all for tuning in to this very special Valentine's Day edition of our podcast.
Where can they listen to it?
You can find it on YouTube at the channel Pod Rushmore, Pod space Rushmore. You can also find it on bgfalconmedia.com as Pod Rushmore.
Want to close it out? Maybe give them your name, your title again?
No, I think it's all good.
Okay, whatever.